And I said, oh, I was just rude to Michelle. I don't like being rude to, I was in a bad mood and I was rude to her. And he went, but you should put that in the character.
After decades of keeping quiet, Jeffrey Tambor is finally ready to speak. The man who made us laugh in Arrested Development.
You're the one who says I need a father figure.
Yes, a father figure.
And moved us in Transparent has a list. And it's not a list you'd expect.
Together.
Well, it's very interesting because they're two of the most unassuming guys, as well as being two of the funniest guys, and they allow you to play with them.
These are 7 actors who, in his words, forgot what acting really means. Some got too loud, some got too fake, and one of them betrayed him in the worst way possible. Hollywood used to be different. It used to be about the work, about the craft, about showing up prepared and respecting your fellow actors. Jeffrey Tambor grew up in that world. He trained under the legendary Sanford Meisner. He spent years in small theaters, learning his trade the hard way. Every role he took meant something. Every character he played came from months of preparation and deep study.
Meow. Surprise flatulence. Meow, meow.
You are great.
That's how real actors did it back then. But something changed. The new generation arrived with different rules. They brought cameras to lunch. They posted everything online. They cared more about going viral than getting the scene right. And Jeffrey watched it all happen. He saw good actors become celebrities. He saw discipline replaced by chaos. He saw respect disappear from the set. And he stayed silent. Until now. So let's begin with the first name on his list. This is an actor who built an empire on being silly. And to Jeffrey, that was the whole problem. 7. Will Ferrell. Jeffrey Tambor believes comedy is an art. It requires timing, subtlety, and respect for the script.
I don't know if it got funnier than that. I mean, that's just the silliest damn thing.
Yeah.
So when Will Ferrell showed up on Arrested Development, Jeffrey wasn't impressed.
Look, we could bicker about this all night, but what's done is done, Dad. Are you guys gonna invest or not? That's it!
Ferrell came in as a guest star, playing a loud and wild character. And according to people on set, he treated the whole thing like his personal comedy show. Jeffrey had worked on that show for years. He knew every character, every joke, every pause. The cast worked like a machine, perfectly timed and carefully balanced. Then Ferrell arrived with his improvisation and his big energy. He changed lines. He added jokes that weren't in the script. He made everything about himself, and Jeffrey hated it. To Tambor, this wasn't creative freedom, it was disrespectful. He believed actors should honor the writer's words, not replace them with whatever comes to mind. Comedy isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's about truth, timing, and serving the story. But Ferrell didn't seem to care about any of that. Sources say Jeffrey barely spoke to Will between takes. There were no fights, no shouting matches, just cold, professional distance. And when Ferrell left the set, Jeffrey reportedly told a crew member, "That's everything wrong with modern comedy." 6. Jared Leto. Jeffrey Tambor never worked directly with Jared Leto, but he didn't need to. The stories were enough.
I said, don't ever forget this feeling because this is what it's about.
Leto became famous for his extreme method acting.
Jesus fucking Christ, you fucking idiot. I've been looking for you, Lone Star.
When he played the Joker in Suicide Squad, he sent dead rats to his co-stars. He mailed used condoms. He stayed in character even during lunch breaks. Some people called it dedication. Jeffrey called it a circus. Tambor was actually offered a role in a film where Leto was the lead. After hearing about Leto's behavior on previous sets, Jeffrey quietly turned it down. He didn't make a big announcement. He just said no and walked away. Because to him, acting should never become torture for everyone else involved. Jeffrey transformed himself completely for Transparent. He played a transgender woman with sensitivity and depth. He studied for months. He worked with consultants. He gave everything to that role. But he never terrorized anyone. He never made his co-stars uncomfortable. He never confused cruelty with commitment. To Tambor, Leto represents everything wrong with modern method acting. It's not about the work anymore. It's about the spectacle. It's about getting attention and controlling the set through fear. And Jeffrey believes if you need stunts and shock value to be remembered, Maybe your actual performance isn't strong enough. 5. James Corden. Jeffrey Tambor spent decades building his craft in small theaters and quiet rehearsal rooms.
Never winks. He never goes, isn't this funny? He plays it serious. So we can all, now you can have a never nude.
James Corden took a different path. He wanted fame, attention, and viral moments.
Charm on the front desk. This is where I win, okay? I am Louis Charmstrong, all right?
And to Jeffrey, that was the problem. Corden treated every role like an audition for his next talk show segment. He played to the camera, not to the character. They never worked together, but Jeffrey watched from a distance. He saw Corden's carpool karaoke become more famous than any of his actual acting roles. He saw the constant need for attention, the loud personality, the desperate energy. And according to close friends, Jeffrey said Corden had forgotten what real comedy means. Real comedy comes from character, from truth, from understanding human behavior. It doesn't come from singing in a car or making faces at a camera. Jeffrey believed Corden was talented once, before fame changed him, before everything became about the next viral clip or the next celebrity guest. Stories started coming out about Corden's behavior on sets and in restaurants. Reports of rudeness, of treating staff poorly, of demanding special treatment, and Jeffrey wasn't surprised. He once told a colleague that when fame matters more than craft, respect disappears. And that's exactly what happened to James Corden. 4. Russell Crowe. Jeffrey Tambor believes great acting comes from control, from choosing your moments carefully, from knowing when to explode and when to hold back.
Each other work. We don't see each other all. Everybody thinks we all hang out together. We never see each other.
Russell Crowe believes in something different. He believes in rage, in intensity, in letting his emotions control the room.
Is this not why you were here?
And Jeffrey hated that approach. They crossed paths at award shows and industry events over the years. Jeffrey watched Crowe's reputation grow. The phone-throwing incident at a hotel, the fights with directors, the constant stories about his temper on set. To Tambor, this wasn't passion. It was unprofessionalism disguised as intensity. Jeffrey trained in theater, where discipline is everything. You show up on time. You know your lines. You respect your fellow actors. You save the emotion for the performance, not for the hallway. Crowe seemed to operate by different rules. Rules where throwing tantrums made you seem more authentic, more real, more committed to your art. But Jeffrey saw through it. He once said that violence is the weakest acting choice. Real strength is restraint. Real power is control. Any actor can yell and throw things. Great actors can destroy you with a whisper. And in Jeffrey's eyes, Russell Crowe never learned that lesson. 3. Charlie Sheen. Jeffrey Tambor and Charlie Sheen both became sitcom legends, but they took completely opposite paths.
That was an addition that Rip urged me on to.
Jeffrey approached comedy with discipline and preparation. He studied his character. He respected the writers. He showed up ready to work. Charlie Sheen did the opposite, and Jeffrey watched with growing disgust as Sheen turned his personal chaos into a public spectacle. The 2.5 Men meltdown became international news. Sheen's rants, his drug use, his winning speeches, his complete breakdown on live television. Most of Hollywood looked away or stayed silent, but Jeffrey had opinions, strong ones. He believed Sheen was destroying what comedy meant. He was making it look cheap, easy, and worthless. According to people close to Tambor, he called Sheen's behavior a disgrace to the profession. Jeffrey believed your personal life reflects your respect for the craft. How you behave off camera matters just as much as what you do on camera. Sheen proved that wrong. He proved you could be a disaster in real life and still get paid millions. And that infuriated Jeffrey. They never worked together, but they represented two different eras. Jeffrey came from a time when actors were professionals first, celebrities second. Sheen represented the new Hollywood, where scandal sells and chaos gets you headlines, where being a train wreck becomes part of your brand, where talent matters less than drama. And Jeffrey believed that shift was killing real artistry. While Sheen was partying and imploding, Jeffrey was perfecting his craft in silence, wondering when Hollywood stopped caring about the difference. 2. Kevin Spacey. This one is complicated. This one is painful, because Jeffrey Tambor and Kevin Spacey were once part of the same world.
Very prevalent in the business. People rude, people overbearing, and treating their assistants horribly.
They both did serious drama. They both won major awards. They both transformed themselves for roles.
Couldn't you have consulted me first?
Let me think. No, you never drove it.
On the surface, they seemed similar, but underneath, everything was different. When the allegations against Spacey came out in 2017, Hollywood exploded. Multiple men accused him of sexual misconduct. His career ended overnight. House of Cards fired him. His movies were pulled from release. And Jeffrey watched it all unfold with a sick feeling in his stomach, because he knew what was coming next. Within months, Jeffrey faced his own allegations on the set of Transparent. Cast members accused him of verbal abuse and inappropriate behavior. And suddenly people started comparing him to Spacey, putting their names in the same sentence, treating them like they were the same. And Jeffrey hated Kevin Spacey for that, not just for what Spacey did, but for what it meant for everyone else. Jeffrey always claimed his behavior was about demanding excellence, not about abuse. He said he was passionate, not predatory, but Spacey's fall made it harder for anyone to hear that defense. The public didn't want to separate different types of misconduct. They didn't want to hear explanations. And Jeffrey blamed Spacey for creating an environment where any accusation meant instant guilt, where there was no room for nuance or context, where his own complicated situation got lumped together with something he believed was far worse. 1. Jason Bateman. This is the name that hurts most, not because of what happened on screen, but because of what happened when everything fell apart.
Jason, as an actor, is not only notable for what he does, but he's also notable for what he doesn't do.
Jason Bateman and Jeffrey Tambor weren't just co-stars on Arrested Development.
$145,400 into a hot tub, get buck naked, and play Scrooge McDuck.
They were friends. They built something special together for years. They trusted each other. And then came 2018, and everything changed forever. The New York Times brought the cast together for an interview. Jessica Walter was there, still hurt from Jeffrey's behavior on set. She started crying while talking about how he had treated her. The room went silent, and Jason Bateman tried to defend Jeffrey. He downplayed what happened. He made excuses. He compared it to normal set behavior. For a moment, Jeffrey must have felt relieved. Finally, someone stood up for him, someone seeing his side, someone who understood that making great television sometimes means being demanding and difficult. But that moment didn't last long. The internet exploded with anger. People called Jason an enabler. They said he was protecting bad behavior. They demanded he apologize, and Jason did exactly that. Within days, he released a public apology. He said he was wrong to defend Jeffrey. He distanced himself completely. He chose his career over loyalty. Jeffrey reportedly felt destroyed by this, not by the criticism, but by Jason's abandonment. They had been through so much together, years of working side by side, inside jokes, late-night shoots, genuine friendship. And when Jeffrey needed someone to stand with him, Jason walked away. He saved himself and left Jeffrey alone. There were no fights after that, no angry phone calls, just silence, cold, permanent silence. And according to people close to Jeffrey, that hurt more than anything else that happened that year. Jeffrey Tambor may never work in Hollywood again. His legacy is now forever complicated, but maybe he was right about some things. Maybe the industry did lose its way. What do you think? Was Jeffrey fighting for truth, or was he part of the problem? Hit subscribe and let us know in the comments below.